I'm going to share with you 3 shoulder mobility tips that I wish I knew when I started my handstand journey. Tip number 1 is to get stronger at 95% of your shoulder mobility limit. Now, there is something I want to clarify about mobility limits, but first let me talk about this tip. If currently your shoulder mobility goes only up to here and you can't open up any higher, this is your 100%. A lot of people think that they should now stretch beyond that, beyond that, beyond that so that they get used to it. But instead, what I like to do is to get really strong at 95% of this limit. If you are really strong in this position, your body will be more accepting to go beyond that. And now this is your new 100%. You get really strong at 95% of it, and your body will be more accepting to go beyond that until your 100% keeps expanding. Now let me clarify what I mean by shoulder mobility limits. Your shoulder mobility limit is always going to be dependent on the load and stability requirements of the situation you're tested in. For example, when I perform an assessment on my clients, I might ask them, how far can you open your shoulder angle? And they might be able to open 150 degrees. Maybe not 180, but 150. Then, if I ask them to test that same angle under load, for example, upside down, like this, the body might not feel safe enough to open that same amount and might only open 140 instead of the original 150. And then if I ask them to introduce some instability, for example, to balance, the body might close even more and you might only be able to open 130 or even 120 degrees. So your mobility limit is always going to be dependent on the load and stability requirements of the situation you're being tested in. If you want the best results, you should become stronger at 95% of your limit in every situation. For example, here, you could take a wall stretch with the arms locked, hold at 95% of your limit, and feel stronger there by squeezing the arms, looking at your hands, squeezing the shoulders, elevating and retracting, just becoming more comfortable in it. But even more importantly is when you add load. So you can climb up the wall like this. If you can't do that yet, let me know and I'll post a video on that. Take your maximum shoulder limit and be very strong here. Hold for time, preferably 4 sets of around 20 seconds with some minute or two of rest in between. And then, even if you cannot do a handstand, introduce some instability by leaning weight and becoming lighter on the wall. So you don't have to lean weight enough to balance. Just lean weight to become light on the wall, very light, very light. Hold, 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 and then come down, preferably for 4 sets of 20 seconds with a minute or two of rest in between. Tip number 2 is to forget about the most efficient and most optimal way and focus mostly on moves that you actually enjoy and feel excited about. I've bought a mobility course years ago that was pretty expensive, and they isolated how to stretch the lat versus the pec major versus the subscapularis to find the most efficient way to gain shoulder mobility. And I remember watching that course and then not doing anything, and then years pass and I didn't make any progress until I suddenly started focusing on moves I actually enjoyed and was excited about, and then I saw very quick progress, much faster than I anticipated. For many of my clients, working on wheel pose, for example, can be a game changer in terms of shoulder mobility, as well as general spine health. And for me personally, working on the forearm hollow back, which at the time I did with way less open shoulders, allowed me to work on my shoulder opening while feeling like I'm working on an exciting and challenging balance. Tip number 3 is to not let your shoulder mobility stop you from exploring handstands. I know this because of my experience in my own journey, but also with my clients. A lot of people come to me saying, hey, I want to work on shoulder mobility so that I can start learning handstands. And here's the thing, you do not need perfect shoulder mobility to start exploring handstands. You can totally do handstands with stiff shoulders. They'll just be a little bit harder, but that's fine because in parallel, you're going to be working on opening up your shoulders. And by the time you get the hang of the balance, you're also opening your shoulders. You combine the two and you'll have amazing handstands. I have a ton of free videos on this channel that can help you out with this. And also, if you like my teaching style and like to support me, I offer pretty affordable one-on-one coaching as well as a zero to handstand course. All of the links are in my bio, and thank you for watching.